What makes a battle devastating? Is it the number of lives lost, the cities turned to rubble, or the way it rips the fabric of society apart, leaving scars that last for generations? Today, we're diving deep into the pages of history to uncover some of the most devastating battles ever fought on European soil. These aren't just stories of soldiers and strategies, they're tales of human endurance, catastrophic loss, and moments that irrevocably changed the world. Our journey begins in the dense forests of Germania. In the year 980 here, 3 Roman legions, the pride of the empire, marched into a trap. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest wasn't a conventional clash of armies. It was a 3-day ambush, a brutal, desperate struggle for survival led by the Germanic chieftain Arminius. For the Romans, it was an unimaginable disaster. Over 20,000 soldiers, 1/10 of the entire Roman army, were annihilated. The eagle standards, symbols of Roman power, were captured. The psychological blow was immense. Emperor Augustus was said to have wandered his palace for months, crying out, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions." This defeat halted Roman expansion eastward across the Rhine, effectively drawing a line on it map that would define the boundary between the Roman and Germanic worlds for centuries. It was a lesson in humility, a bloody reminder that even the mightiest empires have their limits. Let's fast forward over 1,000 years to 1415, to the muddy fields of northern France, the Battle of Agincourt. It's a name that echoes through English history, a legendary underdog victory. King Henry V's English army was small, exhausted, and riddled with disease, vastly outnumbered by a confident French force. But on that fateful day, the English longbow proved to be a game-changing weapon. The sky darkened with a storm of arrows, each one capable of piercing French armor. The French knights, weighed down by their heavy plate mail and struggling in the thick mud, were cut down in droves. It was a slaughter. While English losses were in the hundreds, French casualties numbered in the thousands, including a huge portion of their nobility. Agincourt didn't win the 100 Years' War for England, but it crippled the French leadership and cemented the longbow's reputation as one of the most fearsome weapons of the medieval world. Now we travel east, to the walls of a city that stood as a beacon of civilization for over a millennium, Constantinople. In 1453, the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, set his sights on this jewel of the Byzantine Empire. What followed was a 53-day siege of epic proportions. The defenders, outnumbered more than 10 to 1, fought with incredible bravery, but Mehmed brought a new and terrifying weapon to the field: massive cannons, including the legendary Great Turkish Bombard, which pounded the seemingly impregnable Theodosian walls day and night. On May 29th, the walls were finally breached. The fall of Constantinople was a cataclysmic event. It marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of ancient Rome. It sent shockwaves through Christendom and shifted the global balance of power, ushering in an age of Ottoman dominance in the eastern Mediterranean and forcing European explorers to seek new sea routes to the east, indirectly sparking the Age of Discovery. Let's leap forward to the age of Napoleon. In 1812, the French Grande Army, the largest European army ever assembled at that point, invaded Russia. The campaign was intended to be a quick, decisive victory. It became one of history's greatest military fiascos. The pivotal moment was the Battle of Borodino. It was a horrifying spectacle of carnage, the single bloodiest day of the Napoleonic Wars. Over 70,000 soldiers fell in just 12 hours. The French technically won the field and went on to occupy a deserted, burning Moscow. But it was a Pyrrhic victory. The Russians refused to surrender. As the brutal Russian winter set in, Napoleon was forced into a disastrous retreat. Of the 600,000 men who invaded, fewer than 100,000 survived. The campaign shattered the myth of Napoleon's invincibility and marked the beginning of his downfall. The Industrial Revolution brought with it new ways to wage war, on a scale never seen before. Welcome to the First World War. The Battle of the Somme, which began on July 1st, 1916, is a name synonymous with senseless slaughter. The first day alone remains the darkest day in the history of the British Army, with nearly 60,000 casualties. For months, men were ordered over the top from their trenches, advancing into a hail of machine gun fire and artillery shells. The battle raged for over 4 months, and when it finally ended, the combined casualties for both sides were over 1 million men. The territorial gains? A mere 6 miles. The Somme became a symbol of the futility and horror of trench warfare, a brutal meat grinder that consumed a generation and left a legacy of trauma that haunted Europe for decades. but even the song pales in comparison to the sheer scale and brutality of the Eastern Front. In World War II, the Battle of Stalingrad, fought between 1942 and 1943, was arguably the turning point of the war in Europe. It was a conflict of unprecedented ferocity. The city was bombed into a twisted landscape of ruins, and the fighting descended into a desperate, close-quarters struggle for every street, every building, every room. German soldiers called it Rattenkrieg, or Rat War. The Soviet defense was stubborn and heroic. For the soldiers on both sides, it was a living hell. The eventual German surrender was a crushing blow to Hitler's ambitions. The battle resulted in nearly 2 million military and civilian casualties, making it one of the bloodiest battles in human history. Stalingrad not only halted the German advance into the Soviet Union, but also turned the tide of the war, putting the Third Reich on a path to ultimate defeat. From the forests of Germania to the rubble of Stalingrad, these battles represent more than just historical events. They are profound human tragedies that shaped our modern world in ways we can still feel today. They redrew maps, toppled empires, and left behind legacies of both unimaginable sorrow and incredible resilience. Understanding them is crucial to understanding the long, often violent, journey of European civilization. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this exploration compelling, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.